What's up, y'all? I'm back to talk about another fight, not a prediction video. I've already given a prediction on this fight, and I'm not changing it. But I've seen the highlights of Islam Makhachev. I ran into a lot of supporters on my channel on my last video I made 2 days ago. Shout out to those guys. And I decided to actually look at the highlights, not just the record and the numbers. Whoa, this guy reminds me of Khabib, but a better boxer version of Khabib with the wrestling. He reminds me of Fedor Emelianenko. And I say Fedor because this guy is so disciplined. His wrestling is really good. His grappling, the way he throws people with the sambo, like one of y'all, I forgot which one it was that said it, but his sambo is really good. His submission ability is real good, given he has 10 submission wins. He can go the distance if he needs to. He's got a real big left hand. His right hand reminds me of Dan Henderson. I think Dan Henderson was a right-handed fighter, right? This guy is the same way with his left hand. Boom! Lights out. So for him to beat Oliveira, and I'm gonna make a video describing what Oliveira needs to do to beat him. Let me sit down. Actually, I'm tired of standing. I've been standing all day. For Makhachev to beat Oliveira, it's very simple. See, this fight reminds me of Nogueira and Fedor 1 back in 2003 when they fought in Pride when Nogueira was champion. If they stand, he needs to hit him in one big punch, either knock him out or drop him. I'm not saying he can't knock out Oliveira. I see it's unlikely because nobody's really knocked out Oliveira like that with one punch. But it's possible. To the very least, he'll drop him and set up ground and pound like he does with a lot of his opponents. See, Fedor was a better striker than Nogueira in that fight. Even in the later fights, he was a better striker. His grappling, his sambo, his wrestling will be what wins this fight, like with Fedor with Nogueira. See, the difference is, even though Oliveira obviously is a submission grappler like Nogueira was, his striking is better than Nogueira. So that's what makes this fight interesting. And the fact that this is almost 20 years apart, but it's so similar stylistically. Makhachev needs to hit him with a big left hand. He does not need to stand and trade with Oliveira. Because, again, Oliveira has had lots of success with strikers. Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. And although I think Islam is a different kind of striker, it's proven success. Islam needs to think, okay, this guy can stand if he needs to. And even though if he gets dropped, he can always get back up. There's a chance he might not get up. Again, Islam hits hard. But what if he gets up? Islam needs to be patient when he fights Charles. I think he's going to be patient. Like somebody said in my channel. I keep forgetting y'all's names, and I apologize. But I acknowledge y'all. Know you're there. He needs to hit him and hit him hard. And if he doesn't think he can stand with him, if he thinks, and the thing is, Charles is going to avoid that left hand. So he needs to switch up his stance and still hit him with a big left hand and get his right hand ready if he needs to. Drop Charles, which I do see him doing, and he needs to get on top. He doesn't need to do what Justin did, let him stand up. No, get him to the ground, whether it's a knockdown or a takedown, which he can do with Charles. And he needs to control the positioning. He needs to I would do side mount. I wouldn't get in Charles's guard because then you're letting Charles work his game, his bread and butter, which is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with the arm bars, triangle chokes. You need to avoid all those things, and you don't need to let Charles fight good off his back. You need to get him from the side and control the arms, ground and pound, control the positioning. If this fight's boring, and it would go in favor of Islam, meaning you might see some ground and pound. You're going to see more of the controlling the positioning of this fight. You're going to see more of that. That's if Islam doesn't finish him. He can finish it. I'm not saying he can't submit him, but the chances of this fight ending by submission go in favor of Charles. Because, again, Charles, if he's on his back, he's dangerous. Islam knows this. Islam is going to be very patient in this fight. You're not going to see a first or second round TKO. Very likely from Islam, unless it's because Charles makes a mistake and moves wrong, or if he actually flat out knocks out Charles, which can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked him out with one punch. Anything's possible in that octagon, given that big left hand that Islam has. So a knockout with a left hook, a big punch, or he takes down Charles and controls the positioning of this fight and wins a decision, a dominant one-sided decision, like with Fedor. Again, he took down Nogueira, he dropped Nogueira, he controlled the positioning on the ground, he fended off submissions. That's what Islam needs to do in this fight, because Charles is going to look for submissions if they're on the ground. If he can do all those things, and he can win a decision, a one-sided decision, and take home the title, or knock him out with a big left hand. He can do that too. Even though I've never seen Charles get knocked out with one punch before, hey, anything's possible. So again, Islam by a big left hook, a knockout punch, or he takes Charles down, don't stand with him any more than you need to, take him down, can ground and pound, avoid submissions, which he can do. Again, Fedor doesn't get submitted. He's only been submitted one time in his career for a reason. That was by Fabricio Verdum, and Fabricio obviously got lucky in that fight. Charles has to get lucky if they go to the ground and submit him, because this guy's going to be ready. Again, I compared him to Fedor because Fedor was probably the most well-rounded fighter, dominant fighter that fights like him. He fights like Fedor. He reminds me of Fedor. That's why I like Islam. That's why I say he could win this fight. And he fights like Khabib. And people compare him to Khabib. Khabib was a good wrestler, but this guy's also a good wrestler. Khabib was not dangerous on his feet. Fedor is still dangerous on his feet and even more dangerous in his prime. So that's why I said Islam can knock him out with one punch. But as far as most likely scenario, I think he's going to catch Charles in a wild exchange because Charles can knock out Islam if he needs to. He's going to hit him with a big punch and drop him, get on top, and he's not going to go crazy. He'll probably attack him from side mount to take away again the knee bars. He's going to take away the triangle chokes, the arm bars, the Kimura locks, and the Americanas, and all the things you can do from off your back. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but that's just my opinion. And he'll dominate this fight and win, and he'll cruise to a decision. He can control the positioning of the fight. He can get the better of the stand-up, avoid getting submitted, and get takedowns, which he will be able to do if this fight goes the distance. Islam will be the new UFC lightweight champion. But if he gets caught up and gets dropped and Charles takes advantage of it, if he gets caught in a submission, Charles wins this fight. So either way, either guy can win. I don't think Islam should be a big favorite given how Charles keeps finding ways to win. I still think he will find a way to win this fight. But if he doesn't, Islam wins the way I've talked about it. Well, Islam has a big chance here. He shouldn't be that big of a favorite or an underdog.